All right, guys, today I'm going to swap out probably, I don't know, the most amazing car battery I ever heard of. This thing lasted 11 years and it still starts my car, but we're now in November and I could hear the starter cranking more, meaning this thing's getting a little weak on the cold cranking amps. And I'll show you how much cold cranking amps it has. So this is the Panasonic. I'll put the model number in the description. But basically, this is a car battery that I'll pull this thing up right here. As you can see, it costs $885 with a discount. You could literally buy this for over $1,100. And you definitely don't need an $1,100 car battery, but I think it's a supply and demand thing. You can't get these things here. So the ones that they have here are very expensive. If you went to the dealer, they'll probably throw in an interstate battery or whatever. But I found the best replacement, and it is this Bosch battery. Now this is size 34, and this is a great battery. It has 800 cold cranking amps, and actually with a little device I have, I'll show you that it has a lot more cold cranking amps than its advertising. So I did my research. I found out that's the best battery. It should be a perfect fit. And by the way, this is the device that you could check your volts, which is actually not that important. Well, it is important, but what's really important with car batteries is the cold cranking amps. And I also bought one for my Mustang, and as you can see, it's unplugged. And this is a different size. But also, even the Mustang car battery has a lot more cold cranking amps than advertised. So, all right, so let's test this and you'll see how many cold cranking amps this thing has and how much the new battery has. But I just wanted to make this video to show you basically how awesome this original OEM Panasonic car battery is. I mean, it lasted 11 years. This is a 2006. The battery has never been changed. And honestly, I never even heard of a battery lasting 11 years. And I'm sure if I lived in a warmer state, it'll last even longer. And by the way, I have never topped off the water or anything. So this is just new from factory. So I'm pretty sure I could survive another year with it, but I'm just going to change it over and maybe I'll play with it a little later, adding some water, seeing if that increases the cold cranking amps. All right, on to the test. All right, so I hooked up my solar battery tester. This is a really good one, by the way, model number BA7. And let's just go through the screens. And on the back, it has like the different battery types. SL is conventional, which is what this is. But you could put in the cold cranking amps. I'm not going to change it. I have it on 800 for the other Bosch battery. I'll just click enter and it tests it. So this battery only has 258 cold cranking amps, and I think it's supposed to have like 590. I'll put that in the video description. So as you can see, this thing is way down on power. So next, I'm gonna test the Bosch battery, and we'll see how many cold cranking amps that thing has. All right, voltage wise, as you can see, the the Lexus car battery actually had more volts. But let's test the amps. And by the way, over here it should say CCA 800, okay? So let's just do a test. 957, okay? As far as I'm concerned, that is amazing. I mean, this is a brand new battery and it over delivers, okay? And by the way, the volts are important, but you also need the amps, and you're not going to test the cold cranking amps with a multimeter. At least I don't know how. Maybe there is a way, but I ended up having to buy one of these devices. I'll put a link in the video description below because I did buy it from Amazon. So let's test another battery. I mean, too bad I didn't get my tripod for all this, but yeah, it's a little dark over here. This is supposed to be, come on, phone, 640 cold cranking amps. So let me just confirm that's positive. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, I did charge this battery because I hardly drive this car. So I charged it with one of these. You know what? I'll put a link in the video description below because this is also a good one. I've used another battery tender. I didn't like it as much. This one seems to even recondition batteries. But anyways, let's just test this. 773. And it's supposed to have 640. So once again, these Bosch batteries over deliver, and you gotta love that. You know? By the way, this battery, I was going to use it for an audio system. With that battery tender that I just showed you, it was able to save this. As well as my original lawnmower battery that kept dying, which basically, to prevent it from dying, I just unhook it after I use it, and then it maintains the voltage. But this battery, with my other battery tender, it couldn't get it to work. But with that Schumacher battery tender, it was able to fix it. And now I use this lawnmower battery, the original one. I was using that little audio battery that also has 12 volts, which that's AGM battery, until that thing stopped working. All right, so whoops. So this was the other battery tender. I think it's called Battery Tender Plus. That couldn't fix my lawnmower battery. And I also had one of these that you actually mount in your engine bay. I used to use that for my Mustang because, like I said, I don't drive this thing often, so the battery constantly dies. But for the winter, I simply unplug the battery, and I'll check it from time to time. And if I have to, you know, trickle charge it for a day, that's what I'm gonna do. But I wanted to make this video mainly about the Lexus battery. It just surprised the hell out of me. 11 years. I never had to recharge it. One time, my automatic lights discharged the battery. I had to jump start it. But that's because the cold cranking amps were so low and it was a cold day that when the HID lights were on, for whatever amount of seconds or minutes it's on, basically it discharged the battery to a point where it couldn't start the engine anymore. Because, you know, this car's filled with electronics. But other than that, 11 years, and it just surprised the hell out of me. One of the best batteries I ever owned, but definitely not worth $1,100, and it's not even worth $885. And, I mean, that battery right there, the Panasonic, I bought that for $125, and that's with the cord charge because Pep Boys is having a sale. So, you know, you could buy it for $125 too, and I think if you return the old battery, it'll cost you $105. But I'm just gonna keep this battery. I'm gonna try playing with it, putting in some distilled water, and seeing if I could get more cold cranking. If I could get more cold cranking amps out of it. But anyways, guys. By the way, guys, so this is the positive battery terminal. I just wanted to show you something. You see that metal? Hold on. See that metal tab right there? That piece of plastic is secured onto that tab. So you have to use like a giant flathead to pry that off before you can pull the battery out. And on this side, the negative side, there's nothing. So it's secured to this plastic battery cover thing. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass to get this out of here. Oh no. All right. I have my amplifier wiring complicating things. I'm gonna have to cut some zip ties. But anyways, I just wanted to show you that in case you're changing your Lexus battery and you can't figure out how to get it out. It's probably because that plastic thing is secured to that metal tab. I got it disconnected. AD-D26R. And I couldn't get an R battery. That just means the positive's on the right hand side. So, but this battery, here's a positive. and it's going to be in the same location, so it's not going to be a big deal. It just means the writing is going to be backwards. But look, this is the OEM plastic cover, and I was able to get it on because I know some of you on the forums complained that you couldn't get this on the new battery. That's because a lot of the battery finder tools say you need a different size battery than you actually do for this car. So I did my research based on size, you know, length, width, and height, and I found the best battery you could get, which is basically this Bosch battery, size 34. And if you're lucky, maybe you could get a 34R, but I'll pop this in just to confirm that this is the best battery for this car. All right, I pulled it out. As you can see, the water is at the lower level. This is the upper level. So I'll fill it with distilled water and give it a charging cycle with that charger I showed you and see if I could restore the cold cranking amps. You never know. All right, guys, so here's what it looks like. The original battery is slightly taller, okay? Width-wise, it's practically the same. And let's see, lengthwise. It's basically almost identical. The thing is, putting the cover in, I couldn't get the cover to sit straight, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. Okay, see how nice and snug, goes right to the top, and it hangs a little bit. Let's put this one. Okay, so that works well, but the cover is hitting somewhere in the battery box. All right, guys, basically the new battery is a 1/2 inch lower than the old battery. So to make it fit, I'm actually gonna have to cut off a 1/2 inch, and I'm just gonna use these shears. You can use a Dremel, you know, a handheld saw, whatever you got, but I'm just gonna use these shears and get it done. All right, so here are the 1/2 inch pieces I cut off. I'm not gonna say it's perfect. I also put this notch back. I did a horrible job because my shears are so thick, but I'm gonna have to just pull that off. But anyways, it's definitely shorter now, and I'll just double check to see if it fits now. All right, so the height looks good now. It's about 7 1/4, which is exactly what the new battery is. And you see it's resting on the shoulder of the battery box. Hopefully you can see that. Guys, I had to make a 6 inch by 10 inch spacer of 1/2 inch plywood because my battery was too short to get the clamp to work. So here it is. Just gonna clean it up a little bit and put it in place. That's what the battery's gonna sit on. It's gonna give me that perfect 6 3/4 inch height. Is it 6 3/4 or 7 3/4? I get mixed up. But let me show you another quick issue. If I can get this light to stay. All right, my battery hook clip is broken, so I'm gonna put a little bit of this Play-Doh stuff I got. Twist it up. Whoops. Oh, come on. Actually, let me use more. That way this thing doesn't fall down on me. I have to rip out the battery, because that did happen a bunch of times. So finally, I should be ready to pop the battery in. Okay. Alright guys, as you can see, the cover is nice and flush. I'll be able to reconnect that wire, no problem. But the most important thing is the fitment. It's perfect. Okay. Alright guys, so the car won't start usually on the first try after changing the battery. But let me pop my garage open. There we go. There we go. And now you have to program your windows, your sunroof, you know, all that nonsense that won't work after you change your battery. Alright guys, so I just took a ride. Everything's working perfectly. I had to reprogram everything. So let's see how many cold cranking amps we get after the alternator charged this thing. Holy moly. 1044 cold cranking amps. So yeah. The new Bosch battery is working perfectly. It was a pain to install it because, you know, it's about a ½ inch shorter. So I had to add the plywood, and then I had a problem with this bracket, thinking it wasn't on properly. I had to take everything out, including the power steering computer. Huge, huge pain in the ass. But everything was on properly. It was just, I wasn't sure, so I had to double check and take out the battery box. But I have everything in the video, so you guys, if you guys run into the same problem, you'll know what to do. Because I did everything for you. I made all the mistakes for you. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.